Hey, welcome guys. Thanks for joining. Just gonna kind of take a look at the market on a technical level, an overview of the major indexes, as well as kind of just watch GameStop into close today as we have earnings coming up. Let's see. Yeah, earnings right after market close today, I believe. So I want to see if there's any last minute, price action that's worth watching into close. I would expect to see some buying or selling in the last few minutes, so I think that would be quite interesting. But just want to come on and see if anybody had any stocks specifically they wanted me to take a look at. Please post it in the chat if there is anything you want to take a look at. If not, I'm just going to kind of, give my thoughts on the major indexes, kind of what I'm seeing here. I guess to start, let's look at the Russell 2000 here, right? We are selling down back in early March. We did find support off this 1-day 55 on the Russell 2000, and we're right back there again, which is quite a concerning signal. We can see we have the oscillators, this is RSI and stochastics, both in a downward bearish posture. As well, we are quite close to low of the day, so a lot of weakness here on a major index. The Russell 2000 is some of the 2000 smaller cap US stocks, so really selling off there. QQQ also selling down a bit today, a whip to the upside. Not looking as bad as the Russell 2000, but we are having some concerning signals here that haven't quite played out yet. We can see we have some moving averages on the screen, and the moving averages we're in play with now are the 1-day 21, the yellow line, and the 1-day 55, the green line. With oscillators neutral and about to cross down, if we do see a breakdown here on QQQ below, let's say 315, that would be quite concerning. But at the moment, it's just holding up. We're actually finding support right on the 1-day 21, this yellow line. The 1-day 21 is coming in at 317, and right now price action is just right above that. So it does look like we are seeing some buy pressure right on this major area. And SPY actually breaking below the 1-day 21 at this moment. The 1-day 21, which is typically major support, coming in here at 389.65. But it looks like right now we are about 20 cents below that. So it'll be very interesting to watch the indexes where they close today. But what's really most interesting is on the weekly. We do have some pretty big signals. Stochastics crossing down. For those of you, who do understand technical analysis, cross down from the overbought area back into the bullish control or below 80 is typically a sell signal, and to get that sell signal so high in the range is pretty concerning. And it's basically the first massive sell signal we've had, since September of last year. So definitely something to worth watch. So I do see some requests coming in, so I'm going to take a look. Andrew's asking for YVR. Let's take a look. This is Liquid Media Group. Very nice week. Actually, very nice day. But once again, look at the selling, right? So this, is up over 24% today, but at a point was up an extra 40%. So huge sell pressure. Let's see, is this at all-time highs right now? Let's take a zoom out. No, it's not. So this, has been on a pretty big bear run actually since about 2013, 2012. Really has not quite a break. Now we can see there's been a few pumps, here and there, but I would assume this has to be news related or earnings related. There must be something good here, but we are seeing some good signs here. We do have all the major moving averages crossing up, but with that said, if you didn't get in, around $2 to $3, I would not get long here, as just this whip to the upside, the sell pressure we're seeing around the 5, 6, 7 area is just way too strong to think that this is probably a good buy in anymore. And Samara G's asking for PLTR. Let's take a look there. PLTR bouncing off of the 1-day 100. We can see PLTR has been in a bit of a channel between 23 and 31 now. Basically, close to its, it's relative. The price action history on PLTR is still very new. We only have about 6.5 months of price action, which on a technical level really isn't enough to make any great decisions. But we can see more than half of PLTR's life has been spent between this 23 and 31 range. And as we can see, the channel has been played multiple times. So, we do have a cross, of the 1-day 21 and 1-day 55 here, a rejection of this cross, and now a breakdown potentially of this bottom of the channel. So we do have this major moving average here, the 1-day 100, that's this teal line. As long as price action's above that, I would say we are okay, but a break below here would be pretty concerning, as this would be, basically there's no support, there. I wouldn't expect PLTR to go all the way back to its, IPO price around 10, but a break here and very easily we can go back down to 19 or even, $16. So PLTR on its last life support here. Andrew Cohen, okay, NFT speculation. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I wasn't unaware, but I figured there had to be some sort of news going on with YVR to get that kind of reaction. So thank you for the update. I will add that to my watch list. So Robert Joseph is asking for DPLS. Okay, so this is Dark Pulse. It's trading at 1 cent. So Robert, to be completely honest, technical analysis doesn't really work well for stocks like this. I rarely trade, penny stocks that pump like this, as I just don't think it gives me the best edge. With that, I can speak on what I see. Very clearly a pump. In early January, this stock went up 5,500%, and since the highs in early February back down 76%. So overall, let's see, from the pump began to where we are now, still a 10x gain, so very good. We are finding support here. We can see very clearly price action bounced off of the 1-day 100 in early March, and once again here we are finding support. So I would watch to see, do we close above or below this 1-day 100, this teal line. And actually you can just see we did get some buying off it in the last few seconds, so it does seem like we are finding support. But overall, this is what I would watch. Andrew, are you looking to buy or sell this? Or are you holding? That would be, sorry, Robert, are you looking to buy, sell, or are you holding this? That would be some pretty crucial information to kind of let me know what I'm thinking. Okay, Samara, you're welcome. Aaron is asking for DNMR. Let's take a look. DNMR. Yeah, well, Robert, yeah, no problem. Well, to be honest, it's just like, certain strategies work for certain people. I know what I'm good at, so those kind of stocks just aren't my thing. But, so I tend to stay away from them. So Aaron, okay, so let's take a look at DNMR. So this is actually looking, so we did sell down quite a bit. Actually, we opened up quite low today, around 40.79, and getting bought back up above the 1-day 21. Typically, this 1-day 21 is your first line of support in terms of major moving averages. So it is good to see, price action getting back above there. Taking a look at the oscillators, though, we do have RSI crossed down. We can see the blue line here crossing below the white line, and stochastics crossing down here, the blue line below the purple line. So as long as we see that, we are getting mixed signals here, so I would be patient on this one. There's really not any strong signal. Typically when you want to enter some sort of position on a technical level, you want all of your indicators to say buy or sell, and right now they're giving mixed signals, so I would hold off on any major plays here. Let's take a quick look back at SPY. SPY has been basically selling off pretty strongly for the last hour. We are down to this 1 hour 200, as we can see. The last sell-off in mid-March, or last week, came down to this 1 hour 200 and got bought back up. And right now it actually looks like we might be breaking below that. So this is actually a pretty significant sign, and pretty concerning. We also have a break of the 1-day 21. We can see very clearly the breaks of the 1-day 21. Let's go back to January. We came down to, you can see when price action breaks below this yellow line, we typically make our way back down to this green line. So we can see that happened in January, that happened in February, March, and another break here. Very likely we can head back down to the low 380s. So this break is usually typically a good indicator that we do see some more downside, and that's what we're seeing right now. Now, with that said, this yellow line's coming at 389.60, so we're only 70 cents off of that. Is it possible price action gets back above there? Very likely in the next 24 minutes, but that is what I'm watching, today. Do we close above or below this 1-day 21? For those of you who are just joining, if there's any tickers you want me to take a look at, please put them in the chat and I will take a look. Okay, let's take a look at, yes, wow, so Russell really just going for it. I started, really looking at the charts almost an hour ago, and Russell was only down about 3%, now down 4% on the day. The selling is really kicking in. Let's take a look at a little bit lower time frames. The 1-day 100 getting broken here. So what we can see here is, right, the 4 hour 100 back in early March was where price action found support, and today we're just kind of diving right through that. So that's, pretty concerning, and we're seeing that same thing, on SPY on the 1 hour. So a lot of actually, so look at that. So in the 2 minutes I looked away from this, we found support here back in mid-March, and now it looks like the buying is coming in right off this area. Let's take a look at the minute. Yeah, the minute chart, we can see that bounce off of that 1 hour 200. We're up about 40 cents in 2 minutes, which means there is some buying coming in here, but we do have to see where the day closes. All right, Andrew Cohen, GH. So this is Guardant Health or Guardant Health. Okay, Guardant Health. Let's see. All right, so what I'm seeing here is whenever you have moving averages cross, that's typically a signal of a trend change, right? And we haven't quite seen the cross happen yet, but we can see the yellow and green line getting very, very close here. So we could potentially be seeing a cross here to the downside, which would obviously indicate bearish. And we are seeing a rejection off this area, right? We saw the rejection first happen, in mid-March, and now this week again off of this, basically the same moving averages. With that said, we have RSI crossing down, stochastics neutral, but more downside, we probably do get a cross. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this play back down to, the lows we saw in early March, potentially back down to like the low 120s or 130s, but that's a huge range on this one, so it's very hard to say. But based on what we're seeing here, more downside, definitely down to like 137, this major, EMA is something I would watch for. All right, let's take a look at GameStop. Let's see where that's at. Not too much movement on GameStop in the last few minutes. I think we started the stream is around 181, so up a little bit since the beginning of the stream, but overall, not too much movement. Let's take a look here. It does look like it's finding some sort of diagonal support throughout today, potentially, on the 15-minute chart. But ultimately, each bounce off this diagonal is getting rejected by this 15-minute 21, and again, just this current candle getting rejected off of the 15-minute 21. So into the close here, I would watch, do we break above this 15-minute 21, or do we break below this diagonal support that's been in play basically all day today? Yeah, all day today. If there's any other tickers you want me to take a look at, please put them in the chat. If not, I'm just gonna kind of leave this on GME into the last few minutes of price action. We got another 20 minutes today, so I'm gonna keep an eye here. Yeah, you're welcome, Andrew. Yeah, I'm gonna try to start doing this more often. I think a lot of people in the community like this, kind of analysis. So I'm gonna try to come on here a few days a week and give my thoughts. But overall, what I'm seeing right now in the markets, it's a bit concerning. We're seeing some, big, sell signals. Look at this red candle today on, Russell. Let's see. Let me get rid of these guys. Yeah, pretty decent selling on QQQ, but though the Nasdaq or QQQ ETF is showing a bit more strength than SPY or even IWM, so that's worth paying attention to. SPY getting bought up a little bit in the last few minutes here. Had a low of 388.76, about 50 cents off that low, but even on the 1 minute. Look how price action is getting rejected by even the 1 minute 21. We have rejection up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rejections in a row off of the 1 minute 21. So, the algos are trading these lower time frame moving averages pretty aggressively here, which is always interesting to see. And right here on support at 389, we are seeing some buying, but it will be interesting to see, do we close below the 1 day 21 and horizontal support at 389, or do we close above it? Aaron TX. Let's take a look. I guess let's see. So you're looking for a buy point. So right now, if you're looking for a buy point in the market, I would look to be patient, as the market does look like it, could be, heading into, maybe a somewhat of a minor pullback, or a reset, right? As I call it, like a bullish reset. Overall, I still think the market's extremely bullish, but we've just been on such a run for some profit taking and for some selling to take place isn't unusual. So I would be patient on this one. A good buy point would likely be this 1-day 21. But I would almost want to be patient and see, do we go lower? We do have some horizontal support, looks like around $33. That could be a good buy. I'll mark out some areas I would watch if I was you. Potentially, here around 30. Let's see if we get some more price action. Yeah, I would probably look in the mid to low 30s as like an excellent place to buy, but ultimately what you want to do is you want to wait for a bounce, right? You don't want to buy when it gets here and then it falls down further. You want to wait for something like this, right? You want to see price action come back down here, consolidate, and then bounce, right? So when it bounces, this is your buy-in. So you want to be patient on these sell-offs to make sure that you don't, what's called catching a knife. Home Depot, have owned this forever. Circle of trust, anything concerning was, well, actually Home Depot's had an extremely strong bounce off of its 1-day 200, I believe. Actually, no, a little bit below, but look how nicely Home Depot is playing these channels. So Home Depot all-time highs at 292, broke down a bit, in early March, and since then, after earnings, a massive run. But again today, a rejection off of its all-time highs. Now, if you've had Home Depot forever, I don't really see anything concerning here, and I'll show you why, right? So let's take a look at the 3-day chart and zoom out on Home Depot. Home Depot has been on quite a run for the last 10 years. Essentially what Home Depot is doing here is consolidating at its all-time high. I know there's a big range between 260 and 290, but relatively to the history of Home Depot, 250, 260 is still very high. So as long as Home Depot holds this area, as a long-term holder, as long as Home Depot stays here and just bounces like this, the longer it stays here and bounces, the better off you are, because that's kind of just its setup to kind of break out and really run again. And you kind of see something like that here, right? We can see from 2017 all the way, to 2019, it kind of sat in this area and then eventually broke out. Yeah, we did have like one dip over here, which was COVID, but besides that, we consolidated and basically broke out. So here again, you want to see a nice consolidation, and then, hopefully 6 months, a year, another breakout. That's the best case scenario for these. So Home Depot long term looking very strong. Let's go back to GameStop. Yeah, okay, GameStop. A little bit of movement since we just last looked at it. It was around 182. Still getting rejected off of that 15-minute 21 though, it looks like. Came back up. The last 15-minute candle we were looking at did get bought back up, but ultimately still below it. So it will be interesting to watch that into the close today. For those of you who are just joining, if there's any stocks you want me to take a look at, please feel free to put them in the chat. If not, I think we'll just watch GameStop into the close today and see how this goes. Yeah, no problem, Andrew. BB, please. Okay, let's take a look. BlackBerry. All right, BlackBerry. Okay, so we do have stochastics and RSI crossing down here. We can basically see this teal line crossing below the white line, so that indicates weakness on momentum, right? So we are crossing down here, and we are seeing stochastics do this, and we're seeing, so we have both the oscillators crossing down as price action is losing support. So BlackBerry does look pretty weak here. Back in early March, we found support on the 1-day 100, so I would expect a similar setup here. I would be surprised if BlackBerry doesn't head lower here. It looks like 950, 960 is a very realistic target on BlackBerry. It really depends what you're looking. Are you looking to short here? Are you holding BlackBerry? When you guys request a ticker, if you kind of tell me what kind of position you're in or what you're looking to do, so I can give you some more advice. But on BlackBerry, looking quite weak, as well as the rest of the market. Overall, I don't think it's time to get super, super short. What I think it is time to maybe sell some long positions, take some cash, go enjoy your life for a few weeks, come back up after the dip and buying a little bit lower. Shorting this market has been an extremely bad idea for a long time now. So I think it's almost best, let this sell-off play out, come back in a few weeks and look for some good buy opportunities. But let's see. Let's take a look at eBong. eBong. That ticker's not coming up for me, so I'm not sure. Am I doing this right? I'm not seeing any eBong ticker or company. All right, so GME is showing some strength, but look at that, right? Another rejection off of the 15-minute 21 here. We can see price action try to get over it and rejection. So very interesting to see that pattern. Look at this, the SPY pumping up off this area, right? Very nice. So we have this horizontal support at 389.10. And look how nicely we are seeing price action bounce off of that. But also what we're seeing is price action still right below the 1-day 21. So a bit of mixed signals here. Okay, eBang. Let's see. Okay. All right, so here's what I see on eBang. So we, definitely have had sold off, quite a bit in the last week. From 1266 now to where we are now, down 30%. But ultimately, like I've discussed from some of the other equities, above the 1-day 21, we do typically find support. So as long as price action here closes above this 1-day 21, so if price action stays above 872, you are in the clear. With that said, stochastics and RSI, both of these oscillators are crossed down, which just show weakness. So basically it's on its last support. If we do find support here, this ultimately could be a good buying area, but a break here would be pretty brutal. So I would make sure to place your stop loss relatively close to this area. If we see tomorrow any lower than, like, let's say $8.60, I would get out of this one quickly, because this one could really sell back off quick, back down to the mid-7s, which is probably more risk than you want to take, probably more loss than you want to take on a stock like this. With that said, if you're buying in today, you could be buying the bottom, but it's way too soon to say. A long on this, with what I'm seeing right now, is a little bit risky, but it really depends on where you're entered long. If you're from $5 back in early March, you're fine. But if you entered around $10 3 days ago, that's a different story. All right, just gonna leave this here until the end of the day. Thank you, Andrew. So yeah, I will keep doing this. If you're part of our Discord, I will put a notification out on the Discord when I do go live. I'll try to make it more of a regular schedule for those of you who are interested. Feel free to hit me up in the Discord as well if you have any questions. So I'm just going to leave this here on GME, and I'll be back in a few minutes to watch the end of the day. All right, looks like the market in general is um, not looking too strong into the close here. GME, another rejection off of the 15-minute 21 that we were watching. Still in this range though, between this bottom diagonal and the 15-minute 21. So it looks like it'll be closing right in this space. Not really too much explosive price action. I mean, it is down 7% on the day, $15, but honestly for GME, it's really not too much. More interestingly is SPY. Does SPY close below 389.70 or above? It's right on the edge right now. 30 seconds left in the day. Let's see, where does this close? So right now the 1-day 21 is at 389.67. Quite a battle here. Let's watch on the 1 minute. $15 seconds to go here. GME, nice bounce off of this bottom diagonal. Let's see, SPY looking, yeah, SPY closed below the 1-day 21, so that's a pretty interesting sign. So I guess we'll see where things open up tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. I'll try to be back on tomorrow. If you're interested